PLD Projects presents Holy Snokes, the Star Wars podcast, featuring PLD and Matty Gunner. May the Force be with you, always. Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to Holy Snokes, a Star Wars podcast. I am your host, PLD, and with me, as always, my podcast partner in crime, Matty Gunner. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good, mate. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm fighting something off again. Like I said, the sicknesses have been going around. I can't seem to quite get all the way back before I slide back down the mountain a little bit. I mean, I need my own emergency hull demolition sequencer, I think, of my body so I can get back out and create the new PLD. But I'm okay. I'm okay.
We're gonna have like two PLDs running around. We're gonna have you, and then like the new like split off version of you.
Improve sleep.
You can send that version of you to work, and then you could be there working on even more streams.
Ooh,
You'd be the man of 2 million streams.
I like that a lot. I can deal with that. It'd be nice to be able to do 2 million streams again. It seems like we've had to cancel so many streams in the podcast recently. This is the only show. I think this is the only show we've been pretty consistent with.
This is the people show.
This is the
people show. We're here for the people.
I did bring review back yesterday. I'm excited to see Lego and I finally got a chance to do review. That dropped on the channel 1st of January, man. 1st of January. We're back full on, hopefully, and hopefully that will continue throughout the rest of the month and year. We started today, January 2nd. There we go. We got the 2nd. We got Holy Snokes.
Next week, we have a schedule?
I put together a schedule and put out our community post recently. Here's what we have going on this month. This is all the crown of the PLD Projects / PLD Projects Crown Jewels stuff we got going on this month. That's
Holy Snokes TBD. Holy Snokes TBD.
That's we haven't talked about what we're doing exactly yet there at that point, but we'll figure it out.
I like that on the 27th.
Yeah.
Make sure you guys tune in because that one might get ugly.
And the Class Action Live, Empire Strikes Back versus Dune 2. I might be searching for a new Holy Snokes partner after that, depending on how things go.
Real quick, I got a tangent before we get into this.
Okay, absolutely.
Have you watched Nosferatu yet?
I have not. I have not seen it. Now, I know a lot of people have. Love it.
My God.
Good.
Yeah.
I gotta. Here's the problem. This is why I haven't.
That Robert Eggers guy, he knows what he's doing.
See, this is my thing. I don't like Robert Eggers generally. I have not liked any of his stuff. I'm a horror guy, but for whatever reason, it's never clicked with me. He makes good, he's good. He's a very good filmmaker.
That surprises me.
I know. I always confuse myself. He's like, this is the guy. He should be right up my alley. I should be loving his films. I have not seen Northman yet, so I don't know about that either. The first 2 I watched The Witch, and I watched The Lighthouse, and I was just that they were really made well. But I was bored to tears. I got to be honest. I wouldn't want to watch them again. I have no desire to watch either of those films again.
I love The Witch. I think Lighthouse probably could have done with someone other than Pattinson.
Maybe, perhaps.
Willem Dafoe is Willem Dafoe. I will never critique anything Willem Dafoe ever does because when he does something that is supposed to be bad, it's great.
Right.
But then he turns in a performance like Green Goblin in No Way Home, and you're like, man, he can do everything.
Willem Dafoe is phenomenal. I have no problem, and I don't have any problem. Actually, I don't have a problem with Pattinson in that movie either. It's just, for some reason, the whole film just kind of. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, I get it's okay. So I kind of soured me on Eggers, and I didn't go see Northman because of it. Although I heard better things about.
I love Northman,
and I've heard great things about Nosferatu as well. So I'm sure I will see it because I will give the guy another chance. I wish I was more excited about it. That's all.
I want the $20,000 Nosferatu coffin bed. Have you seen this?
I have not seen this.
On the Nosferatu merch store, they are selling a $20,000 replica of Nosferatu's coffin bed.
Oh my god! Okay, all right, fair enough.
We can split the ad revenue from this show and go halves on it.
Well, then we're gonna be waiting a long time before we get that. I'll tell you that much. Anyway, all right, let's get into today's show. We have a couple bits of news that we're going to save till after the episode because our main focus, as always, we are a weekly Star Wars podcast. Unlike some of our favorite Star Wars podcasts, like that's what they do. Star Wars Explained, that's what they do. Force Center, that's what they do. So they do like several shows a week, and they have like, they'll have their show reports, the news reports, everything. We, as at PLD Projects, we don't have we're not Star Wars channel. We are Star Wars podcast on a channel. So we only have the weekly show. So obviously when the shows are on, like the Skeleton Crew is on, that's our main topic of discussion. And we still try to throw some news bits at the end and everything else. So we make sure everything gets covered. But at this point, we want to go right into our main topics. We want to get right into the meat and potatoes of the show. And then afterwards, stick around and we'll talk about, there's one or two news bits I want to kind of cover and touch base on with Maddie. But we're going to get into this episode, the 6th episode of season 1. Hopefully season 1. I'm kind of hoping for season 2 at this point, potentially. And we'll talk about that maybe at the end. My son and I had a conversation about that after watching this episode. This was Zero Friends Again, written by Myung Jo Wisner, and of course directed by the GOAT as far as Star Wars television has gone, honestly. Bryce Dallas.
Give her own show.
Give her a show. Give her a movie. Give her anything. Give her what she wants. Whatever she wants to do, she can do it as far as I'm concerned.
It's in her blood.
It is. It's in her blood. Absolutely. Hell, give her Solo too. That would make John Hoey very happy.
I'm down. Hell yeah. Or a Kira movie.
That'd be great.
Give her anything she wants to do. She's the chosen one.
She really is. And I will say this, like right off the top, we're going to get into this. I watched this a couple of times, and my first viewing of it, like I said to myself, well, this isn't a very like important episode as far as storyline goes. At the end of the day, like plot wise, you could probably skip a lot of this episode and probably get where you're going as far as story goes. This is what we call an enhancement episode for sure, though, because the character features are so great. But when you watch it again and again, you pick up more and more things. She just understands tone, the Star Wars tone, understands the Star Wars, like that swaggering adventure feel, and understands characterization in Star Wars as well, how it relates to Star Wars. I think better than anyone else working on Lucasfilm today. Even I honestly, I love Dave Filoni. I think she might understand it a little bit more than Dave Filoni does, to be completely honest with you. Just as far as the tone goes, Dave will go out there.
Yes.
Lore, Dave Filoni, absolutely. I'm sure. Not that Bryce doesn't know her lore, but Dave is pretty good with his lore. I just think he goes off in some more wilder tangents, which isn't a bad thing. But I think that Bryce just understands that core and heart of it better than anyone, and that's my initial thought. I get to see an episode that's proved me wrong. Every time I see her name on the tin, I'm like, this is going to be a good episode. So
I saw someone say that her only blip is the episode she did of Mandalorian season 3. I think it was the Jack Black and Lizzo episode. I was like, that was a blip? That was fun. If anything, to me, that was like a preview of what we got in this show. It showed what she can do when she's allowed to just be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I understand. I will say this point blank. I understand. We probably talked about it when we were doing the show, of course. I understand why people didn't like the Jack Black Lizzo thing. If it took them out of the episode, because it was kind of like more on the nose of the cameos. I kind of get that sometimes. I can understand why they did that. I think it's still fun though. But you can't argue that like the material that she was given to direct, she directed the hell out of. That's the thing you can't blame her for any Jack Black Lizzo stuff, because that was part of what was given to her. And I personally loved it. I thought it was fun. I thought it was fun as hell.
We got Jack Black. Lizzo, I'm not as familiar with her work, but Jack Black I have loved since I was a teenager, listening to Tenacious D with my friends. Like there is a video online of me and my childhood best friend singing Tenacious D's tribute on YouTube. Look hard enough and you can find it. But oh yeah, it's there. Drunken singing it in a kitchen. It's there. But
I will.
Oh, you're fine. If search hard enough, you'll. I'll just send it to you. It's hilarious. Okay. But yeah, just give her anything she wants. You know what? You could give her the Hondo movie.
Ooh, I'd be down for that. And look, what I was saying about, I want to put up. I love Jack Black. I think Jack Black's funny as hell. I love Tenacious D. I love everything he's been in. But he's also the kind of character that Jack Black is going to play Jack Black. And that's just what it is, which is why I say that I could see it taking you out of a big lore world like this. Because it's like, oh, it's Tenacious D in Star Wars. And it's like, okay, it takes you out for a second, but doesn't mean it's necessarily bad.
Yeah, there's certain people like The Rock plays The Rock, and you're going to get it, and it's kind of boring. But Jack Black being Jack Black is like never not entertaining.
It's entertaining, absolutely, but does it let you stay immersed in Star Wars? That's the question. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it, but you know you're going to be in it. I mean, you might not be immersed, but you know you're going to get some love.
Hey, and I did. I enjoyed it quite a bit. So, but going back and forth though, yes, giving it to her would be smart because she does understand that the tone, the adventure, the fun. I mean, we had the Christopher Lloyd bits, which are some of the best bits of Mandalorian. I thought I love that stuff. But so this week we did have what I call like more of an enhancement episode. We didn't get a lot of plot moving forward. We got some great character beats, and we finally got what we were kind of aching for a little bit, which is that bit from KB, a little more in depth into KB, which we were kind of looking for. We kind of needed, she needed it. And knew we were going to get it at some point. We got it this episode.
Can I tell you that is what the stuff with KB made this possibly my second favorite episode of the season so far. And we'll get into why in a little bit.
Yeah. My son said the same thing. It's his second favorite of the season so far as well. I'm not sure where it sits yet. I'm still thinking about it, but it's up there. I do enjoy it quite a bit. So, all right, let's get into it. Now we do this. If you don't know, haven't watched the show before, how we recap the show is we do it via segments. We give these segments we prepare every week, little tidbits of things, highlights as you were, and then if we kind of wrap it up at the end with everything else we might have missed throughout. The first segment we always talk about has a new name officially at this point. It is Hondo Watch 2025. Because we are here in 2025 now.
I was like, are we not calling it Hondo Watch anymore? And I was like, oh no, wait, we're in a new year. I forgot you add the 2025 to it. Yeah.
I had to add that to it now. We're different because it's still going. It's still ongoing. Hondo Watch 2025. The segment is purely this. Did Hondo Ohnaka appear in this episode of Star Wars television? And the answer, my friends, is still no.
I need to change the DEFCON level that we are on.
Yes, go ahead.
Thanks to Mike Forrester of Thank the Maker podcast.
Okay.
He sent me a picture that someone did the 90s computer enhance of the captain. Captain Rennod is a Weequay.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I have to see that. That might be a little bit of fakery. You'll have to show it to me at some point. But
I'll show it to you. I'll send it to you after the show. But like when he sent me the picture, I was just like, okay, it's definitely not Hondo. But what if it's like Hondo's great grandpappy?
He's so far forward to be really, really. I guess he's old. Okay, that makes sense. Maybe we'll see. Okay, I'll take it. Yeah, that's right. That's very right. I thought about the show for forgetting where we were at that point. Yeah, absolutely, could be something potentially. That would definitely throw a wink into my Force vision potentially, but I'm gonna go with it.
So we're at DEFCON 2.
On 2, all right.
On 2. I'm upping it just in case.
Again, okay, fair enough. I still, like I said to my son has this running joke with him about me about every time we watch an episode of Hondo's not, and it goes down a point level. So we're down to like 4 out of 10 on IMDb now, as far as he's concerned. Because like no Hondo, he loves the show. He actually loves it. His favorite one of his favorite shows. And I told him I keep saying like I've kind of like let it go now because I do feel like Jod is kind of our Hondo archetype type characters. It kind of feels weird to have him in there. Like he's kind of fulfilling that role that Hondo would have been. So I'm kind of like, so if we get him now, I'll be really happy and really surprised. So hopefully that's the case. But all right, let's move on to the regular the other parts of the episode. Actually about the episode we watched this week. Crew member of the week. This is where we talk about our favorite character of the show this week. And I'm gonna let you start off, Maddie. Go. What was your favorite crew member of the week?
Surprisingly, for as much as I loved KB in this episode, it's Wim.
Dude, you're reading my mind. I had the same thing. I actually thought the same thing. I was like, and I actually threw it to you first, and I thought you were going to say KB. No. I was like, oh, I love KB, but I want to talk about Wim. But go ahead. Tell me about Wim.
I love the stuff with KB.
Yeah.
It has a personal touch I'm going to get to in a bit. But this showed Wim that you don't have to go running in with a lightsaber like a Jedi to be a Jedi, to be a hero.
Right.
It's the main problem that the Jedi Order had was not helping the little people in the quiet moments when it happened. That's why when KB calls him a Jedi, and he has that little smile on his face. So that touched me. That hit me right in the heart. And
no,
he stepped up in this time.
I will say that it did, like, for all, it's kind of funny. The first 5 episodes, we've been giving him a little shit. Like, he's he's impulsive.
Mhm.
He's getting us into trouble. He's doing all this stuff.
Justifiably so.
Yeah. We like the character. We kind of understood why some people might be frustrated with him a little bit that way. Especially the characters in universe. I mean, but yeah, this week it seemed like he was mostly doing the right thing overall. He really helped out KB. He forgave Fern very quickly for what he thought was a transgression, perhaps. Like, and he was all about just getting them on board, getting them together. He was actually being more of a leader than he'd ever been because he wasn't trying to be the hero. He wasn't. That's the thing. He wasn't trying to be the hero. He wasn't trying to be the storyteller. He was just being him. And he inside is that kind of pure of heart, that hero, just like in the exact same way. He got the little smile on his face because he realized he's like, you know, like, he didn't think of it that way. Because that was a great line from KB, not my line of the week, but it was a great line, which he said something effective like I bet you thought saving life would be more exciting or something like that. Something like that. Like, it'd be, you would,
Yeah.
And like, he kind of thought back. He's like, you know what, I did. I saved her life, but I didn't do it like in any kind of sword swinging battle kind of way, like it's supposed to be. It's just a normal thing, and I can be a hero just doing normal things, everyday things that aren't going to get, celebrated, or not going. I'm not going to get into that little iPad storybook at this point. And that was really kind of a powerful moment for women. It made him take that step forward. He obviously took a step forward last week a little bit. He had that tearful talk with John where he was saying, like, everything's not what he thought it would be. He's growing up, and that's exactly what the story is kind of about. It's about them growing up. This Skeleton Crew really is, in a way, way back when, and I throw it out there, we've always talked about Goonies and Amblin. It's a little bit Lord of the Rings. It's the 4 hobbits who left the Shire on their adventure, and when they return to the Shire at the end, they're changed people because they've seen some shit. They've seen some shit out there. These guys have started to see some shit.
They've been to the Buckleberry Ferry.
That's right. Yeah. They went to the inn.
They went to the inn.
Pony.
Yep. And now they've split up. Now they're gonna come back together.
Like the Iron Behold again. Yeah, absolutely. And they're just different than they were before. And I think actually we're going to see that exactly take place when we get to Ad-Adden, which might be next episode, or it could be the final episode. We'll talk about that in separate Force Visions potentially. Because I think that's what's going to be the case. Is we're going to see Ad-Adden, who is full of innocent people who are going to live their lives that one way, and also they're going to be the ones who are actually more of the adults than maybe Wendell and Farrah are at this point, because they've seen some shit, gone through some shit. But yeah, I think the same way about women. I actually felt guilty about it. I'm like, here we got an episode dedicated to KB to a degree, in a place where we showcase someone who has disability and living life with a disability and really giving her that fortune. I'm like, I have to give it to her by default. But I saw a little bit more women in that case. I mean, that KB is my other choice. That would be absolutely my other choice, my 1A, as it were. I was glad to see that too.
I feel like we learn more about KB, but her character didn't necessarily grow. If that makes sense. A little bit, but like I felt like Wim made a bigger step in becoming who he's going to be at the end of this show than KB did. Potentially.
I understand what you're saying. I mean, she definitely did. The whole idea of KB now being able to talk about it with Fern is definitely important, and especially about being able to voice her own disabilities. It's kind of strange. Like I talk about like my life situation. My wife has like rheumatoid arthritis and things like that. It's kind of like those invisible diseases or invisible illnesses and stuff, or maladies that you can't really see, but people look at you and you don't see it, and they're like kind of like, well, what's your problem? What's your issue? You can't see it, so you don't know. And it's what kind of happens to KB and Fern. Fern doesn't see KB's maladies beyond the idea she has OGs or whatever. Like, she thinks she can do everything, but she can't. And sometimes when you're like that, you feel pressured to be normal. You feel pressured to rise above your maladies and like just get on with life, even if no one knows how you feel. So KB definitely has strength of character for sure. So I definitely want to shout her out as well. I'm going to give women KB a little co-credit this week for sure. That's what I'll do. Okay. But one thing
real quick before we move on to the next thing, I found the picture. I don't know if it's going to show up here on there.
Unfortunately, I want to send it to me, and I'll put it up on the screen if you want to send it to me.
There we go. You see that?
Kinda, yeah, that could be a little trickery. It could be something.
Mhm.
We'll see. Potentially, we'll see. I still don't know. Still don't know if I buy that. It might just be the image. We'll have to see, but maybe.
Yeah.
Um,
But anyway, continue. You were saying
one
the
more
thing
thing I
about it.
wanted to say. One more thing I did want to say. I want to throw it out there. I didn't really think about it, but my son brought it up to me. Um, he says that it's funny. We actually haven't. We're clamoring for a Fern episode, or I mean a KB episode, but we haven't really gotten a Fern episode. But for some reason, Fern was more of a presence because she was so strong and out there and out in front. But we have because you could think like the first episode is Wims, basically. The whole series is kind of Wims. Wims is kind of our central protagonist. Neil had his episode with the French Resistance girl. We had this episode with KB. And but we haven't actually had a Fern episode, which is interesting. So is that
Might
what
be
we're getting
coming.
next week? That could be next week potentially. I wouldn't be surprised. But I don't know if we need one, is what I'm saying to him. Like I feel like she has, even though we haven't had an episode about her, we had the little moment at our house at the beginning, like one of the first episodes, either one or two. I can't remember which episode it was. And she's always been so strong and out there in her confrontations with Wim and with John and everything else. He feels like I might not necessarily need an episode for her necessarily, but I don't know. What do you think?
I think other than give me more Neil, like that we're living in. This is just Neil series. We're just living in it.
Okay.
I feel like each character's kind of had moments, but they have each had the moment, like that episode overall, like you were saying, Neil's had the series is more about Wim and his story. Like he's not the center point, but like he's the one that's like closest to the one that we're all like watching more intently, other than Neil, of course. I would like to see Fern get what she wants in that. I want to see her win the race with that douche.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to talk about that. You bring that up. I actually want to think about that. Do we think KB's accident had to do with the racing?
I think it might have done. Because if we talk about in the actual episode, she was like, you don't have to race him, right?
Right. It kind of felt like there was something there that was like, and maybe I wonder if Fern was like partially responsible, possibly, or something. I don't know for sure. A lot of things that come to my head are kind of just like, this might be something that kind of comes back to haunt us in a way. I don't know. We'll have to see.
It could be. I think we would have found that out in this episode. I think that would have been a really strong like character building moment for Fern to be like, the reason that she's had this accident was because of me. I did this to her. Not did it to her, but like it was because of her that she had the accident. I definitely do think it's something to do with racing, or she was involved in a car accident or something like that. Something has put her off the idea of racing, whatever douche names, name was. But we're on the same line of thinking there. Okay. Yeah,
that's fair. Okay, let's move on then. Next to our next segment there, we got, I call this one I Spec, favorite line of dialogue of the week. I'm going to start with this one if you don't mind. My favorite line of dialogue was not like necessarily a great line, it's just what it meant. And that was Wim when he said, anyway, you can just be friends with me and Neil.
Oh, yeah, dude.
My little heart, like, kind of had a little pitter patter. I started because Wim said it. It was so Wim. It was so Wim, so pure, so innocent. He has no idea how much that line meant to KB. He is oblivious. Like, he's not even looking at her. He's doing the things. He's doing whatever. He's like, what? You can tell her or not. You can be friends with us. No big deal. And KB is so touched. And it's a wonderful performance by the actress. She does a great job. Like, it's like little subtle things. She kind of takes it in, and you see this little smile on her face. And it's just encapsulates what's good about Star Wars: hope, friendship, love, loyalty.
Yeah, and it's the way Wim says it as well. It's like a just a duh. Like, you can be friends with me and Neil, duh. Like, it shows how like they are bonding, how this group is starting to like really bond together.
Yeah.
So if you notice, there's no SM33 with them, there's no Jod with them. Like they are having to rely on each other to get by now.
And it was such a smart decision. We'll cover it. Yes, they have. Obviously, you've seen the episode. If you're not, I haven't seen the episode now when you're watching us yet. Go watch the episode and come back. But we have like, when they split off into their two groups, which was the opposite of what they usually are. We have Neil and Fern, and then KB and Wim. It was such a good decision because all of a sudden, when we saw this trailer originally, we kind of like thought this was the Goonies in space. It was a big friend group was doing this, and we learned quickly that no, it's just two friends groups. It was two of them, 2 and 2. And this adventure is kind of bringing them together. And what they really needed was a way for them to kind of coalesce. And so instead of having them go off in their usual 2 and 2, having them mix, they come back stronger. And now they really, the end of this episode, they really, for the first full time, I think, felt like a foursome, like a real foursome. And it's partially because there are no other characters as well. That's part of what you said. Without Smee around, without Jod around, without even, they just have themselves they're depending on. It's that step forward to making a solid group.
It is very much a sitcom trope, but it always works. Like there's an episode of Scrubs where we get JD and Carla working together, and Turk works with Elliot, JD's girlfriend. And they both, it develops their relation. We find out more about the relationship between these two people that we don't normally get to see together.
Right.
Like Neil and Fern together.
Yes.
That wouldn't have happened in any other situation.
Nope.
But it was fun as hell to watch. And like, I feel like those two understand each other now. Whereas before Fern was like, essentially get on my level. Now she understands not everyone can do the things that she can do, which obviously we'll talk about a little bit later on. My line of the week is a little bit more silly.
Okay, that's fair.
It encapsulates that these are still kids.
Oh boy. I wonder if you're going to use my line that I have for a separate later on, but go ahead. Do it up.
Wim sitting in the cannon, trying to shoot at the trash compactor, saying, "It's too invincible." I laughed so hard at
that. Yeah, that was a good moment. That was a good line. That whole sequence. If I saw some people had said it was a slower episode kind of thing for some reason, but that universally this last like 5 minutes of the show was absolutely loved, and for good reason. It was a very fun, upbeat ending, and that was part of it. Was see the kids get together and finally being on their own without anybody help, without any assistance from Jod and Smee, and figuring it out for themselves and still making it work. And yeah, Wim being Wim there was a perfect, great line dialogue. I love that one. So
I actually preferred, going back to the kids splitting up into the groups they did, I actually preferred that to what I thought we were gonna get at the start when they're going down the tubes, and Wim and Neil go off one way, KB and Fern go off the other way. I was like, oh, they're getting split up. They were split up just into the different groups than we got going down the tunnel, which sliding down a tunnel works every time.
Absolutely. I love that bit. I mean, if you're as tired, right? I bet you every Star Wars fan is tired of any podcast and every article comparing it to Goonies, which just totally reminded me of the Goonies moment in the they slid down the tunnels into the sea. I was like, this is super perfect. I love it. I love it so much. So all right. Next up, we got put that in your holocron and snoke it or explore more lore. We want to find out what's going on, something a little deeper than it was in this episode. Maybe it could be explored a comic book or a reference guide, even, or an episode later. What are your thoughts there, Maddie, on this week's?
You already know what I want to see more. Trash crabs, baby.
Oh, yeah. Trash crabs. We're on the same page for this one, my friend.
Shout out to Kate Sabica of the Tippett Studio for doing the Crab King.
Yes.
That stop motion was awesome.
This is where we got Phil Tippett. I was like, I knew we had Phil Tippett in this somewhere, and then this is where it came out. Like, yeah, there we go. I know exactly where that Phil Tippett magic came in, and sure enough, yes, that was it. It's kind of funny. The character reminded me of a crossover between the Junketeer in Labyrinth, with the old lady who carried it on her back, and like a little bit of like that the Jermaine Clement voiced crab from Moana.
Moana?
Yeah, that's out there.
Yeah.
So a similar kind of vibe to it, everything else. I want the same thing. Who is this crab? Does he live alone there? Is there more of these creatures? Is there a planet full of these things? What is going on with this thing? I love it. Does he create the trash crabs to lure people in? I love it. Let me find out more.
I love that the trash crabs can speak basic,
Right?
because they're like friendly,
Yeah.
follow, help. Like, I don't know if you played the video game Abe's Odyssey back in the day for the PS1, where he was like, follow me. Okay, follow me. It just reminded me of that. Just like these tiny little The best one was as they were like leading them towards the Crab King. There was one with a stormtrooper helmet on its head.
I did see that. Yes, that was funny. Loved it.
That was awesome. I just want more fun. I want more trash crabs. So yeah, shout out to Kate Sabaker again. The apprentice became the master for this episode.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's awesome. And using stop motion as well. Come on, man.
I love it. These are more absolutely. It's just so real and so genuine. And speaking of the trash crab, I want to say one more thing. It reminded me of a little bit. I threw out there. Kind of reminded me of Toy Story. Those the creatures that in the with the crane.
Oh yeah.
Kind of like
the little alien creatures.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Food. I love that so much. So, all right, both got the same. We got the same holocron moment. That's cool. I like that. We're both digging for the same thing there. Next up, we got seen a lot of action. This is where we talk about our favorite action sequences of this week. And this one, it's my turn, I think. So we're gonna go with this one. For me, it's easy. My favorite is, I mentioned it already. It's the last 5 minutes. It's the emergency hull demolition sequencer. We saw that in the preview or the recap. They showed that scene. So I'm like, I got in the beginning, was like, oh, we're getting that this episode, aren't we? We're getting that this episode. They're finally pressing the button this episode. As only the recaps can do. When you watch a recap for a TV show, usually they go, I want to highlight these things that are going to be important for this episode. So as soon as I saw that, I'm like, yeah, we're getting that one done. And they pull it off, and holy, that was just awesome. The explosions and everything else, and how the newer, sleeker Onyx Cinder was made yesterday almost now comparatively to the junk that was on top of it. I loved that bit. It was such a well shot, and the tension was there, and it made you whoop, and it made you fist pump. The kids got out of the things themselves without any help by doing what they were told not to do, which is what they usually do, what kids usually do at this point, and made it work for themselves. Well, it was a great fun action sequence. I loved it so much. But what about you?
It's got to be disappointed he didn't get to hit the button.
He definitely is. He definitely is, for sure.
I did think that was cool because Captain Brown said that he'd outfitted the ship with armor, and I was just like, oh, maybe you just put like some big shield generator on it or something. No, it was that entire hull was the suit of armor. I actually think the new ship looks better.
Yeah, it does. That's what I'm saying. It's like looks like a new, sleeker ship.
It looks kind of like Darth Maul's scimitar a little bit.
But it is going to send Lego or people clamoring to Lego to make a new Onyx Cinder now for the newer Onyx Cinder version.
People are. Have you seen the problem with that Lego Onyx Cinder?
No, I have not.
The release date is so far in the future. It's like the Hasbro Lab version of the Ghost all over again.
Oh, geez.
Like, people are not going to be getting that for the next 2 years.
Oh my God. I don't follow this stuff. That stuff, honestly, I'm not a Lego guy. I'm not a builder or whatever.
It's so bad. They put this stuff out. They're like, okay, you can pre-order it now, but you'll get it in like a year and a half.
Right.
It's just like, make it before you put it up.
Right. Absolutely. Oh well, what are you gonna do? All right. So yours then, is it?
My action moment was actually kind of funny. It was a little bit nice action comedy. It's not my comedy moment, but it's definitely my action moment. Neil, who is so afraid of heights, jumping from the ladder to the junker that's carrying the Onyx Cinder, because I genuinely had my heart like in my throat, like, oh my God, no, don't do it. And then you just see the Fern and Neil jump and land on it, and then they come in and they've got like some kind of manual override, which literally does look like a computer joystick from the 90s.
Yeah, it really does.
Just guiding it around.
I'm trying.
Awesome.
God, that reminded me of a story. I don't know if I've told this on air before, if I told this on this show. Well, I was a kid, myself, my younger brother, he's 5 years younger than me, and I have older cousins, about maybe 5, 6 years older than me. And we used to be downstairs during Christmas time, and we had an old school Commodore 64, and we had like Winter Olympics. I think so. Winter Games or Winter Olympics and Summer Games.
Winter
Summer
Olympics, yes.
Whatever it was. It was some kind of Summer Games type thing. And there was like a racing game, like a track racing game or whatever. And you had to like use I had to actually had the Atari style of joystick that they attached to the Commodore, and you had to like go back and forth on it. That's how you ran, because like it was like with the rhythm of it. And we were having this race, so we're doing this race, and we're playing, we're like razzing each other, trying to throw it out there. My younger brother kid, I felt bad for him. I feel bad for him now, but at the time I was just as much of a bully to him as they were. He's trying to do it.
Did he kick your ass?
He's going quick. Oh, he could. No, I don't think he kicked my ass. Well, he probably could. He actually could. He'd run a lot faster than me. This kid runs faster than Jaguar at this point. And he's like running back and forth. And he's like, so anyway, we're like, go, Luke, go. He's like, my head, no. He couldn't do it. And he went so fast out of this game, the joystick literally melted. Like it was like this, it just went like into the thing. We're like, what the hell just happened? That's what I kind of felt.
I was about to ask if you still had that thing, but apparently not.
Oh no, that was I was definitely tossed at that point. That's how I felt. Fern was like, I'm trying. I kind of felt that. Probably back memories. If I ever show that Skeleton Kid to my brother, he might get traumatized from it. I don't know what to say.
He'd get PTSD.
PTSD from it, absolutely. All right. So let's move on then to Laugh It Up, Fuzzball, our favorite comic moments of the week. Maddie, it's up to you, my friend.
Just Neil's look of like, oh, okay, as he's being pulled up the ladder. Fern is pulling him up the ladder by this tiny piece of rope.
Right.
she calls down to him and she's like, are you okay, Neil? He goes, yeah, much better. Like nothing happened. He has this thing where it's just like he'll go from being really scared and really serious, and then 2 seconds later, nothing's wrong.
Right.
And every time it is fucking hilarious.
I agree with you on Neil. I love Neil. And
Hashtag Neil World Order. I'm in.
I still can't watch Neil's hair without chuckling. Like I never noticed it when the design first came out. I didn't notice it. I don't know why or how I didn't notice it. But then someone pointed out the comb over thing he's got going on, and now I can't look at the character without seeing that. And I just love it so much. It makes me laugh uncontrollably. And it's like, I'm like, this is so bizarre and so stupid, but so good at the same time.
The best part is it very rarely ever moves.
Right. It just stays there. It's like,
it's like he's a kid that's wearing a hairpiece.
It really it's like telling it's a hairpiece. This is a tangent episode for me. My mother,
that's what we're here for.
My mother, rest in peace, died a while back now, but she had these stories that she was convinced of, and no matter what you said, they weren't true, and she was absolutely convinced that she would not hear otherwise that Ben Affleck wore a hairpiece. I don't know where she heard it from. I don't remember reading the story. I'm just like, I don't know. She wouldn't like, and I'm like, yeah, and she was like, oh, he does. Oh, he does. What are you talking about? I don't know. This is the same mother, by the way. I'll bring my mother and my brother. I don't know. I'm in a family mood, I guess, all of a sudden. This is my mother who loved my brother. If my mother had a favorite, she would hate me saying this, and my aunt would hate me saying this. It was definitely my brother, the middle child. He was he won like teenager of the year. He was the good kid. We were sitting around on Christmas dinner or holiday dinner, and she was talking about a movie, and she kept saying she's like, it was this movie. It's about World War II, or it's about like the Holocaust, like sort of like Schindler's List. No, it was like Spielberg, so Schindler's List,
Just in the list, yeah.
and Liam Neeson, and like everybody's saying Schindler's List. She's like, no. Like it went on for like 3 or 4 minutes, and my brother came in the room and he goes, Schindler's List? Yes, that's it. And we're like,
I feel like that was a bit.
It must have been.
I feel like she was ribbing you.
Like I don't know. Either way, I'm totally off on a tangent, but
I feel like that was a rib. I think she was ribbing you.
Anyway, speaking of funny moments, let's get back to my laugh it up moment, my laugh it up buzzball moment. For me, it was what I thought you were going to go with earlier, and you didn't. The women line. How come I'm always wrong about who's the good guy? I feel you, Wim. I felt you then. I felt you now. It just feels so bad for the guy. He's always wrong about who's the good guy, and he's figuring it out. And just the way he done it, it was a great, like, just throwing it out there moment for him.
You know that he was definitely like, he's read stories of the Jedi, like making a connection to the local wildlife and like getting help from the creatures of the planet, like reaching out through the Force to them. And he was probably like, hell yeah, like we could, Katie, you just said I'm a Jedi, let's do this.
Right.
And he thought that's what it was. And I thought that's what it was. When I first saw the shell, I thought there is no way they're bringing in the Bendu.
Right.
For a split second, I thought, nah. And then I saw the pincer. And I was like, oh, here we go. Crazy grab. But yeah, dude, that was, at least they know now that like the X-Wings are the good guys. They're not just Kim's mercenary goon squad.
Right. Hopefully we'll get to the BBC Carson Teva next week potentially or something.
Oh, comedy moment. One thing that I did find absolutely hilarious is that the Star Wars version of Walking the Plank is being shot out of an airlock.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was good. Jude Law did a great face. He did a great face. Like it was kind of like this moment, like we saw it coming. Of course, they're shooting out the airlock, but like when he watched it happen, it was like that's a great face. That's a great face of fear. What's going on? I love that stuff.
And just watching everyone like succumb to his bullshit.
So good. He's so good at bullshit, man. So good.
Face like that.
That's what I'm gonna get to. Let's get into Adventure of the Week. That's where we kind of recap everything we haven't brought up. That's what I was going to bring up was Jod. We didn't talk about Jod hardly at all this week because he's not in it very much. He's in the very beginning. Comes out looking like Flavor Flav with all the jewels around his.
I love that moment. He comes out with just this big shit-eating grin, like this maniacal laugh. It's just like, oh, that's the real Jod.
And it's funny. That's the real Jod. It kind of reminded me of Force Awakens Han Solo when he's like cornered by the 2 mercenary groups. He's like, Jod, good to see you. I'm happy you're here. I kind of remember that. That's very Jod at that point. I was just coming looking for you. And Urkel's pirate voice was definitely very Urkel voice, which is kind of, I still loved it. That was kind of fun. What else we got there? Port SM-33. He's getting shot at more than R2 did in the original trilogy. How the hell is this robot still going?
I have no idea. And you would think that at some point he would do something to like not get. I think that the SM-33 getting shocked is a memeable moment because it happens almost every episode at this point. One thing I did want to point out in that scene though, did you notice the cameo from The Last Jedi?
Maybe not.
The opera singer.
Yes. I did see that actually.
Very small,
very
little
small
cameo.
But
I see what they did there.
I see what you did there. Really quick, the shocking SM bit. There was a day back in the day, pre-Disney Star Wars, where we used to do a drinking game for the original trilogy.
Do tell.
And we did do a prequel trilogy as well. But the drinking game was every time R2 got effed up, we had a drink. And man, that we didn't last very long. But this is it. SM-33, I think, gets added to that list, especially if you're watching Skeleton Crew. Although I don't know what the morality level is of us doing a drinking game to like a kid show, but I'm gonna go with it anyway.
It's not a kid show, it's just a show that involves kids, so it's fine.
Good enough, close enough, right? But yeah,
It's just like he came popping out of the vent. He's like, he's in the episode for like all of 2 seconds. He just pops up, gets shocked, and then they're like, "All right, bring the droid."
Hi, Captain. Oh, but seeing the X-wings fly over.
Cartoon like
It is very Acme cartoon level at this point. That's what it is. He's basically the Coyote at some point. He's just Luke getting everything out of him about it.
Yes.
Poor guy. Do you get to see the X-wings flying over? Kind of a little humorous where they're like, they left us. They're fighting pirates. They're shooting pirates, trying to shoot pirates in the sky. They probably don't even look at you down there. It's like they left you. They left you like Fern. They didn't leave you. They just didn't see you. There's a difference.
Yeah. Add to that, like you can't really like look down
right
over an X-wing, so they probably just, like you said, didn't even see them. Trying to think what else that we've.
Oh, the plasma hourglass. Loved that.
Oh,
thought that was a great, cool touch there.
Cool.
I want one of my own. If I was going to get, like, I know Forrester does is like what the merchandise they want, what action figure they want from an episode. I don't actually. I want my own plasma hourglass.
You could probably get a lava lamp shaped like an hourglass.
Probably could. I probably could. I don't know if it would work quite as well, but it'd probably be close.
It'd be the closest thing you'd get.
Yeah, that's true.
But that whole like pirate scene, do you get the feeling that they're just bullshitting making up this pirate code as they go along?
Sometimes I feel that way, yeah.
Because what's this? The right of last appeal.
Right.
I was like, I'm pretty sure. Is that like the Star Wars version of parlay?
Pretty much. I think it's exactly what they're doing there with that. It was exactly the Pirates of the Caribbean Jack Sparrow bit part.
His shot is very Jack Sparrow at this point, because it was like he was talking the crew. It was like Jack Sparrow talking the crew of the Black Pearl into letting him be the captain again. Yeah. When Barbossa is standing literally right there.
Right.
Because he even says, he's like, I think we all agree that Brutus makes a perfectly good first mate.
Right? Yeah.
Everyone's like, yeah. That's true. Here's another bit of lore. Who the hell was that woman that he was looking at?
Yeah, I don't know. The one, not Coma, but the one that was like the one that called for the last appeal.
Yeah.
I don't know. We didn't. Yeah, that was the first time. Yeah.
They seemed like they had a bit of a rapport, because like she was looking at him like
he was staring at her like, you're gonna do something about this. You can do something about this. That's actually good, more lore. Maybe she's very dedicated to the pirate code, and he counted on her to give him that opportunity.
Yeah, she's like, she must be like the keeper of the pirate code.
Yeah, that could be it.
But even like Urkel and everyone were just like, yeah, it makes sense, because he starts talking about, imagine, if your take never ran out, and he's walking up to the pirate saying, imagine if you bought this. Right. Like, he's just such a perfect bullshit artist.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They did have a Star Wars mistake there's a mistake in there. Like, I don't know how it got through, but it did. I guess like he called the one woman Kona, but like in the credits, and it was Coma or something like that. They're kind of like, it was kind of weird, like the whole thing. I don't know what the actual character's actual name
typo
is.
Maybe.
I don't know how to find out. It might be a typo. I'm not sure if to say. It's a random thing I noticed at one point. All right. So what else did we miss this week? Anything else we needed to discuss about the episode itself before we get into Parsecs and Force Vision? And we had the ship out there, and we talked Pocket made a nice little appearance again. So hearing that Merida from the brave voice from Merida. Mm-hmm. So I know. I always think of Merida's voice when I hear it, because I had so much Disney going on. I know.
I just go to Trainspotting.
Trainspotting. I know.
I immediately go to Trainspotting. But
I watched Trainspotting a lot later than I should have, actually. I
really?
See it when it first came out. I only saw it in the 2010s first time.
It's funny because like I mentioned Trainspotting on last week's episode, and recently on my like Instagram feed, I've been getting a lot of Trainspotting clips showing up.
They've been talking about doing another one at one point. I think at some point
they did Trainspotting 2,
right? And they're thinking about doing.
I really hope they don't do 3. I really hope they don't.
There was like a story for it, or like an idea for a story for it, or something like that. Like I remember Robert Carlyle was saying something about it. I think Ewan said something about it. Like they weren't sure they weren't doing a TV show or something, like maybe not with them, but like they would appear occasionally or something. I don't know either. I think it'd be good.
It's like 28 years later. I'm very I know Danny Boyle's involved, and
I am all on board with that one. To be honest, I can't because I like both 28 days and 28 weeks. So I think 28 years is right for the. That's a story that could be told. That's what I think. I understand why you're hesitant about Trainspotting, because it feels like that story's been told at this point. That there's not much more to go with that one.
It's just like such a niche, like
cult
classic thing. Like,
right.
I don't need another Boondock Saints movie. I didn't need a second Boondock Saints movie.
No, I barely need the first Boondock Saints, to be honest, completely honest. And it's fine. It's fine. It's good. It's good. It's just, it's not like, I'm like, oh, whatever. I was like, you're making a sequel? Oh, okay, that's fine. But at the same time, 28 days, 28 weeks, 20 years, I think that has a story that can be told. And I think that give them the shot. I think it's going to be good. Speaking of Killian, I did see that Stephen Wright said that the Peaky Blinders is not ending with the movie. So good I know you're happy to hear that, I think. So anyway, okay. So anything else? We had like let's see, we had the trip, the bounty hunters, pirates, the pirate thing,
crabs.
I think we got through pretty much everything. Nothing from Adam this week.
Yeah, that was surprising. We didn't get anything from the
home planet. Yeah, I was surprised about that too. I guess that story is very much going to have to be told at the end. But before we get to what we're predicting for the future,
maybe the kids save the parents.
Could be. It could absolutely be. So that would definitely make sense with what I mentioned before. What I said before about them coming back, being more adult than the adults at that point. But we'll get into that in a second. First, let's do parsecs out of 11, so where we rank the episode on a scale of 1 to 11, because we always turn things up to 11 here on PLD Projects. Maddie, what do you give this episode out of 11?
I'm going to give this a 9.5.
9.5.
I'm upping it up from my bit of doing 9, and I'm going to tell you why. This hit a little bit of an emotional chord with me, because in primary school, for us, for you, that would be like grade school, like first school. I had this friend who had OI, which is also known as brittle bones disease.
Okay.
And he was like always going around, like he was always taken around in a wheelchair. He couldn't do like anything, like he couldn't play sports with us. He couldn't do like anything like that for us. And a lot of the kids gave him shit over it. Like he got like really heavily bullied over it. And I always thought he was cool because he loved Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So I was like, you're cool. Like, to me, like, in my eyes, you're cool. But, like, that expecting a kid like KB to do the things that Fern can do, that brought a little bit, like, that brought that memory back to me. Because I haven't thought about this kid in years.
Right.
He was, like, a friend that I had when I was a child.
Right.
And I was just like, I wonder what happened to that kid.
It's a good question.
Like finding that little like thing to relate in there. I didn't expect to have something that I would be able to like latch onto like that with the show. I was just expecting it to be like a show I thought was fun, had a good time watching.
Absolutely.
And like the story of her accident and like doing things that she can't do. Like that, the memory of that kid just like came to me straight away, and I was like, "Holy shit!"
It's amazing. That's amazing you say that. I mean, it's kind of funny. I would say that like, it's pretty surprised that after I watched the episode the first time, I had put it like about a 7.5 out of 11, and that was partially because like I loved it for what it was. I loved the tone, but again, like I said, it wasn't very like overall like it didn't. I felt like, okay, it's not necessarily needed. I got a lot more questions to answer. I feel like we could have done more. And then I watched it again. And I watched it the third time. And every time I watched it, I saw more. And I got into the same feeling as you got. And I was like, wow, this is really, really seeing this character kind of reminds me a lot of the Bad Batch episode, the Bad Batch of Tak and Omega in the caves episode, when you talk about Tak's basically being on the spectrum, kind of how he sees things differently and how people can see things or do things differently, and seeing Wim's genuine heart and the tone and the action. Now I'm up to a 9 out of 11 for this. So this is a really good episode. It might be my second favorite of the year season so far. I think 5 is still my favorite so far, because 5 was the most perfectly encapsulated. If you pitched this show, 5 was the episode which was that pitch, pretty much, I thought. But this is still a very, very, very solid enhancement episode for sure. And I think at the end of the day, it was necessary because you need these moments to make you care about the characters and to care about these moments to care about them. Like you have stakes, but all the stakes in the world don't mean anything if you don't care about the characters. So, and that's what this did for me. It brought me in. And so I'm going to say 9 out of 11. So,
hell yeah.
Let's move on to our final segment of the episode coverage. This is Force Vision. This is where we take a look at something and we kind of predict what's going to happen in the future. Either it could be in the next week's episode, it could be in the season finale, it could be in the Mandoverse movie later on, something future that was going to happen from this episode. Maddie, I want to close it out, so I want to let you start with your Force Vision, if you don't mind.
My Force Vision is that I think I kind of touched on it. I think the kids are going to be the ones that like rise up and chase off the pirates. I think this is leading them to save Jod, like I mentioned last week. I think they're going to be the ones to spring Jod from the pirates. But I think that they're going to be the ones that ultimately chase off the pirates. I don't think the Republic's coming to save them because obviously the supervisor won't reach out to the Republic. And I have a feeling that Jod is going to be picking up that lightsaber again.
Yeah, I don't disagree there. I think that might be something happening for sure. Yeah, very interesting. Okay. I have 2. One is a pretty normal one, and one is like I said, it's a little out there. We'll see. A normal one, I'm going to go with first. I think what's going to happen is Brutus is going to go to kill the kids. And that's going to be Jod's come to Jesus moment, where Jod doesn't want to see him die. And that's what's going to make him rebel and take out Brutus, perhaps with the lightsaber, and reclaim his role as a king pirate, so to speak, potentially. He'll take leadership of that. Or maybe not. Either way, he's the one to save the kids to make up for his betrayal. And he's going to fulfill Wim's fantasy of, Wim, you can believe in some things. I did this because you believed in me. It's something, one of those kind of things where Jod became the Jedi that he was always supposed to be in Wim's mind and Wim's heart. So that's the normal one. Here's my little abnormal one. Tak Rennod. Now, you blew my theory apart. If that weak way thing is right, it blows this theory right out of the water. So I'm going to get that out of the way. So we're going to pretend that's Photoshop for now or something, or not real. Tak Rennod is Jod Denali. And here's why. Little bits and pieces of information here. Well, I got the messy hologram, so obviously we probably know who Tak is, or else we'd see his face or something to that effect. The voice that Tak used sounded like SM-33. I think Jod used SM-33's voice to hide his secrets. SM-33 sounds very weird, always acts very weird around him. In terms of every time you saw him, you were like checking out what he's doing and everything else because he's got something in his memories. I think SM-33 was forced to forget who he was. I think he knows Al Akron. He comes out, he knows he's not Aladdin because he's been there before. Because he's the one that told SM-33 to do all this stuff. We never got that reveal. All of a sudden, he had a blaster to his head, and he went off with the people, and he came back with the animals. No questions asked, no mention of the other, because he's been there before, and he's been their supervisor before, or he's been in charge of them before potentially, or he knows something about them that he was able to just no questions asked, get the animals and bring them back. I think the story that told about Tak is what Jod himself has put out there. If you go back to that story being told, he and his crew found Cornus Aladdin and inscribed at a pillar alongside the coordinates to the remaining jewels of the Old Republic. However, when he killed any of his crews, saw the Cornus Aladdin. In addition, he ordered the pirate droid SM-33 to destroy the inscription so no one else might find the isolated world. He ordered SM-33 to forget everything he knew about Aladdin. And then on the way, he suspected that there would be a crew mutiny. But we already know that Jod knows all about crew mutinies. Proving his suspicions correct, the first mate of the Ionic Cinder, perhaps a supervisor, challenged him and threw him out. Ren has been looking for Aladdin the rest of the time because he knows what it is. He doesn't recognize the Ionic Cinder because of the thing on top of it, the junk on top of it, which is why SM-33 was told never to use the hull demolition sequencer, because it was a way to disguise the ship so that John might not ever see it again. Also, throw it out there that who has more names than John Donatwood? We've had so many different names about him. That's been the running joke. Dash, Captain Silva, because his real name is Tak Rennod.
You're out of your damn mind.
I
respect it. But also, I'm going to add a little bit more fuel to your fire.
Okay.
If he is such a fan of Tak Rennod, how come he didn't know the last part of the song? Because they were singing the song about him, and he was just like, how does that last part go?
Right. Because he doesn't know this. It's like he likes it out there. Or which version is it? He's throwing all these rumors out there.
I'm going to go with you. I think you're batshit crazy.
Again.
I'm going to go with it. But I'm going to raise you another one. Because you got me thinking while you were explaining all that. What if SM-33 was the captain?
That's something I did think about as well. I did think about that as well.
He erased his own, or he got to Aten, and something that maybe as he was going through the barrier, it scrambled his brain.
Mm-hmm.
What if SM-33 was really the captain after all? And the reason he can't find his captain when the kids are on the ship
because he is the captain.
Is because he is the captain.
I'm the captain now.
Look at me.
I'm the captain now. That absolutely could be. Now, I did want to throw out there, like, my fourth vision is a little hazy. There's some things that don't quite match up, and I also think there could be other things. Like I'm looking at that story. The first mate, the concubine, are they involved somehow? Is one of them the supervisor? Is that person he looked to about the pirate code? Is that his concubine from back in the day? Is he?
They have an age gap in there.
Yeah, it's pirates. Things to do. You never know what's going on. I just think there's a lot going on there. And it would make sense that Tak Rennod, the hero, the pirate king, isn't as good as he thinks he is, and as good as the story is tell. Because pirate kings like to expand on their own legend, and that's exactly what pirates like to do. It's almost like that he's not. Maybe they didn't have a crew. Maybe that's the story. That's the part of the story.
This is the day you almost caught Captain Jack Sparrow.
Captain Jack Rennod. I mean, Tak Rennod. Tak Sparrow. That's the kind of thing out there. He builds up his own legend. Maybe the truth is he is Tak Rennod, but Tak Rennod was by himself, and he just threw this legend out there to make it legendary, to make it because he wants to get back to that. That's all he cares about. But I don't know. There's a lot in there that I don't know.
You're out of your mind, but I'm not going to throw it out. I'll let you have this one just because I'm curious to see where it goes.
And I will throw it out there as well. I needed to put up that banner we talked about at one point off here. Irresponsible speculation. This is not me saying this is going to happen. But I do like the fun, wacky theory. But that would make sense too, because he gets to live up to the hype, but he lives the hype in a different way. That which fits in the themes. I've always loved what Ken Knapsack said. I love Ken. He always says the wild theories are good and fun, but you have to connect it to like the themes of the show, or it doesn't make sense. Otherwise, they're just kind of stupid. I think the theme is that Jod has always wanted to throw out his legend somewhere, and he wants to live up to the hype. Whether it's now, you can live up to the hype in a bad way, you can live up to the hype in a good way and save the kids. But either way, he's creating a legend. He's going to become a legend at this point, potentially for him. It's all about the stories, man. It's all about the stories. So
I did see one that was pretty damn crazy.
Okay.
Is that Wim's dad is Tak Rennod.
I heard that potentially too. I've heard first that Wim's dad was the supervisor, but then that didn't really make much sense because now I've seen the episode later on where he's in there. But I've also heard that Wim dad could also be Tak Rennod, and he's like this very, like his disguise is the anal analyst.
The thing that I saw was that because of like how he was like nursing his head in the episode where they're talking to the droids about searching for the kids, the way he's like going like that, he's like maybe he's suffering from amnesia or something.
Okay, that's
I was just like, okay, now we're going.
We're getting batshit.
Now we're getting batshit crazy.
We're getting batshit.
You and I don't often get too batshit crazy, so I feel like
And I like to think we always at least put it out there. We know this is batshit. Yeah. We know this is batshit. So, like my previous one about Brutus, I think that's not batshit. That's kind of a normal-ish kind of possible prediction. This one, completely out there. But if it did happen, I think it could be fun. I think it could be fun. We could find out something. I think there is something to that. I just think there's some groundwork that has been laid, and one of the days I'll come back and I'll bring up the old clone theory. But I mentioned that before. My old clone theory I had about Palpatine being a clone.
I love that theory. Because it turned out to be kind of true.
It did in a way. Absolutely, it was kind of true. At the end of the day, it's actually funny because I told you about it. It was a big Clone War over it, and we got ostracized. I got to come back years later after Rise of Skywalker and said,
"Was the forum still up? Were you able to tell them I told you so?"
I didn't. I didn't bother. I didn't actually seek it out. And the forum I was a part of, the big one's still there somewhere, but I haven't posted that in years. The secondary one, the one I ran, has been closed for a while, so no, unfortunately. But there was a 10. I was kind of like, look at me, I'm the captain now.
Which would you prefer to be true? That Jod is Tak Rennod, or that Tak Rennod is Hondo's great grandpappy?
Ooh.
I gotta say, Hondo being a descendant of the greatest pirate to ever live makes sense to me.
It does make sense to me too. That's possible. I think I would go with, if it gets Hondo in the live action at some point, then I'd have to go with that. Obviously, absolutely. But as a whole, I don't know. I think Jack is Tak, depending on how it's done. I guess that's what it depends on how it's done and how the reveal goes. So we'll have to see. So. All right, that's going to end up the discussion on Skeleton Crew season 1, episode 6, Zero Friends again. And with 2 episodes left, those will be the next 2 episodes of Holy Snokes. We're going to go through 7 and 8. Left. Yeah, you know what? Actually, I'm not going to. I will have one more thing. I will say, kind of for Division issue, just to say, we have 2 episodes left. What are we thinking about these next 2 episodes? I'm going to start off there. Like we said, there could be a fun episode. I kind of think we might. I don't think we're going to get to Ad in next episode. I think Ad's going to be episode 8. I think the next episode is going to potentially be a Jod episode. I believe we could have a flashback kind of episode where we talk about Jod's past or something to that effect, potentially. Maybe this is where the reveal happens. I don't know.
It's episode 7, right?
Right.
That's the one that Jude Law said that we do find out about his character.
Oh, did we? I didn't remember that. Well, there you go. I didn't know that. I promise you I didn't remember that. So that's why I said that would make sense.
It was in the interview he did at, I think it was Comic-Con Brazil or what, D23 Brazil, which that event is.
Then that would make sense. Because we just got the kids episode, we're going to get a Jod episode, and then I think the end of the episode is when then the pirates will arrive on Aden. And maybe the kids will arrive on Aden maybe they arrive at the same time. I don't know, either way. But then the last episode, which I'm hoping is going to be a longer episode. Hoping we're not going to get a 30-minute last episode. Going to have a big last episode, hopefully 40 to an hour. Hopefully we get a final episode of them and the climax there. I think next week we get basically a Jod episode overall. Generally, we'll see the kids. We'll probably see the parents at some point, but it'll be mostly Jod's backstory to a degree, or at least a story that will let us know more about Jod, for example. So.
This will be my final Force vision. I can't believe I haven't thought of it till now. I think the pirates will get there first because I think there is something to the line of Kim saying, "If you need me, call me." I think the kids are going to make a detour to Kim's.
Okay.
Which is when we get Carson Teva.
Oh, yeah.
Up and being like, pirates? Not on my watch.
Not on my watch, right. Yeah, they absolutely could, because we know that the X-Wings were there. The X-Wings were at Kim's. They were also at the planet we were just at, the Lumina, or not Lumina, I don't remember what it was called. Lirupa, whatever it was. The place we were. And Wim had the realization the X-Wings are the good guys. Well, where does he know where the X-Wings are? Well, we need help, because pirates are Jod is heading back to Aden now with pirates. We need help. We need the Republic help. We need the X-Wings. Well, let's go where we know the X-Wings were. Kim can get a hold of the X-Wings. Let's go to Kim. And Kim does get the X-Wings, and they go. I could see that. Absolutely could see that happening. That'd be good. That'd be kind of a cool little draw, and maybe that's where Carson Teva does show. And that's my other question to you: are we going to get any cameos or anybody from the Mandoverse or somebody that we know at this point? You say Carson Teva, but if it's besides Carson, any other possibilities that you would see potentially?
Trapper Wolf,
of course. That'd be also good. Does maybe get Bryce Dallas Howard in there as a X-Wing pilot at some point? Yeah. The all directors get to do it. So I know she voices Seattle, so that's her job. But
I don't think we're going to get Dan. For everyone that's saying that the Mandalorian, I think this is a bit below his pay grade.
If Grogu and Neil appear on the same screen together, we're gonna have
oh my god,
there's gonna be problems.
they're gonna make so much money.
Which is the reason why it might happen. But
That might happen.
And then they're gonna go to the world between worlds and they're gonna find nubs.
Get your new fits.
So, but I don't think that Din makes an appearance either. I don't think so. But I don't know.
Who else could though?
Bo-Katan.
Nah,
Probably not.
Bo-Katan ain't helping kids.
Fuck them kids.
Bo-Katan would be like, fuck them kids. Ahsoka?
Hera and Jay. I don't know. Hera, they're out there exploring.
Ezra,
if he's back,
Ezra would help kids.
Yeah. Just saying they're out there. R2 and 3PO. Yeah. Not Chopper. Chopper's destroying that Adam.
Chopper's blowing that out in the smithereens and becoming the Pirate King.
That's right. Chopper is Tak Rennod.
Oh my god! It'd be like, I don't need any more Star Wars after that. Like you could end the whole thing and just like it was Chopper all along.
It was Chopper all along. There you go. Nice. Okay. All right. That's going to finish up again.
We are out of our minds today.
We are out of our minds today. We do have a little bit of news to discuss, or rumors, speculation, that kind of thing, as we go to it. I will say, if this is your first time here, a long time, I know we're supposed to do this in the first 3 minutes, but I didn't. Let's subscribe. If you're listening on the audio feed, leave us a 5-star rating, all that kind of stuff. Join us on patreon.com/PLD Projects. Brandon Buckingham, Austin Cattell, wonderful people. Join us there if you can. If you can't, I get it. Just hit subscribe and share us. We are at 744 subscribers here on the main channel. It's we're getting close to 1,000 here and there, which was our goal. Our big main goal was to get to 1,000, and we're slowly but surely getting there with all the help from you guys. We appreciate that. Let's get into the news now. We do have 2 bits of news. First is just a quick news bite. We want to say rest in peace, rest in power. Angus McInnes, goal leader John Dutch Vander has passed away at the age of 77 years old. Again, he appeared in A New Hope, reappeared in Rogue One, even recorded a new line of dialogue as a more advanced age than he was. And it's always sad. Our heroes and our legends are going before us now as we get older and older. But he created such a great character in a brief amount of time. It jumped off the screen. They created a bunch of lore about him. We got a bunch of names, Dutch first, and then John Vander. And rest in peace. And I know more power to his family, more love to his family out there, and of course the Star Wars family as a whole. That's what. So,
an X-wing pilot named Dutch. You can't write something cooler than that. Big and Wedge, okay, we get it. But like, you have good Dutch.
Although, come on now, John was a Y-wing fighter, Y-wing pilot, not an X-wing pilot.
Oh yes, sorry, Y-wing pilot.
You're gonna make Thomas Harper.
Thomas Harper's gonna be coming after me for that one.
Very angry. True. Thomas, if you're listening, I want it noted that I corrected to Maddie, so you can leave me alone.
Such an inferior ship that no one gives a shit about.
Oh wow! Again, not on my Thomas. Not me.
Thomas may have like 4 feet on me, but he knows I'm right. He knows I'm right. Why haven't we seen a Y-wing since? That's why they're called the Y-wings. Is why do they exist?
Oh my God, you are writing. I don't even know if you could cast that check. I don't know, man. You may have like the physical. He's got the backing of like the military behind him.
He is a military man.
He can just call an airstrike in. But you don't have a chance to grapple him to the ground. All right. Next up, last bit of news. This is again pure speculation. This is not even on Star Wars News Net, so take this with multiple grains of salt. Danny RPK is a scooper of sorts.
I see his name come up a lot, and I have no actual idea who he is.
He is a Twitter guy, YouTube guy, I think, and he does Patreon. He holds by, and his accuracy has not always been the greatest. He does get some things right. He does get some things wrong. So this is why I kind of say throw it out there, and this is what there is being said, but don't, it is not gospel truth. He states Sean Levy's Star Wars film could shoot as soon as fall 2025 in the UK, and looks like he's made some changes to the plot, where the original pitch was set in the far future with an older Rey. That's part one. We'll discuss that first, and there's a part two I want to talk about also. Now, this does match up, and it almost feels like you could have put this together with some of the news bits that have gone around. Like, it feels like almost like a spoiler that you, or a scoop that you could have put together yourself. This is what we know. What we know is that Sean Levy has pitched a Star Wars movie, and that he was writing a script with his partner. That's what we know, because he has said that out of his mouth directly in interviews with Josh Horowitz, amongst a few others. That's about all we know about that, because Lucasfilm has not commented. Lucasfilm has not said it's agreeing. It's more potentially that Sean Levy is pitching it before it being announced. So if this doesn't happen, this is not a story, oh, Lucasfilm dropped the ball again, but because this is not an official thing. This is someone going, I'd like to work with you. I'd like to try this. Let's see what happens. That being said, it makes a lot of sense. Sean Levy did just direct Deadpool and Wolverine and earned Disney $1 billion. So we are working with the same family. Lucasfilm likes to work in the same family. So it makes sense that they would go to someone like a Sean Levy, especially because the news out of Lucasfilm appears that they feel like they want to go a little safe again for a little bit. It feels like they're trying to go a little safe, which is not exactly necessarily a good thing. But I guess business-wise, I understand the draw. Let's get somebody in there who we know. This is why we haven't heard a damn thing about Charmaine Obaid-Chinoy in a year. I don't think we've heard one thing about her, honestly. So
I think Daisy Ridley mentioned her.
Did she?
I'm pretty sure she did in an interview
recently.
A few months, like when was I in LA? October. So yeah, since October.
Okay. If that's true, maybe I'd have to read or get the comments directly to comment on them. But it just feels like we might be veering away from her. I don't know for sure. I'm not saying it's even a good or a bad thing. I'm just saying this was just reading the tea leaves myself.
I think that'd be a bad idea if they did.
It depends on how they do it, but I don't disagree necessarily. But either way, I think Sean Levy's pitching this movie, and I think it makes sense that he would do a movie. There was also the filming in the fall of 2025. There was a different rumor, or this was definitely more of hearsay, that Sean Levy was, quote unquote, holding a window open at the moment in September of 2025 for possibly doing a Star Wars movie, his Star Wars movie. I kind of feel like, again, this might be a case of that's what he wants to do, and that there are discussions taking place, but that it hasn't been officially greenlit, or this hasn't been moved forward. He's saying, here's my pitch. I'm going to hold this window open until we hear back from you and see. So let me know what you want to do. And it might even be a way of living, going, putting it out there, going, here, Lucasfilm, I'm putting this out there. Come back to me. Let's figure this out. What the thing about making the changes to the plot, the original pitch supposedly was set in the far future with an older Rey. This is where the old Helen Mirren Rey thing came in, I think, at one point. But I think that was for a different movie. I kind of want to remember it wasn't for the Sean Levy movie. I don't know. Because he has said that Sean Levy had said something to the effect of he wanted to stay away from the Skywalker saga. He wanted to stay away from the timeline, wanted to do something kind of on its own. So that's a disconnect. However, going back to that, it's quite possible that Disney has changed his mind. Disney might have said, we know you want to do this. We want to reestablish Rey, though, and we need a hit, and we want Rey involved in that hit. Can you make this work? And Sean Levy might have gone, okay, I can change a little bit of this and put Rey involved somehow. Not necessarily a good or a bad thing. Again, it depends on how it's done. But that would make sense as far as the story goes, as far as this story goes. There's a whole lot of mishmash thing going on, and you're kind of throwing in there that Simon Kinberg thing in his trilogy. And Daisy Ridley did confirm in an interview something that she was doing potentially doing a trilogy now, not just a movie. She said something basically it was like a yes. She's answering a question, something. Well, now that it's been gone out, yes, okay. So what does this mean? Is this rumor valid? What do you think about Sean Levy and Star Wars and what's going on?
So, if this is going to happen, if this movie is going to happen, we're going to find out in 3 months' time. Because there is no way that they are going to shoot a Sean Levy Star Wars movie. As you said, this man just made Disney $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
They are not going to do a Sean Levy movie without shouting from the rooftops about it.
Right.
If he's in Japan, it'll happen.
Yeah. I wonder. Let me throw it out there to you real quick. Mentioning Celebration, it's something I want to bring up. I think they might be gun shy. Last Celebration, they announced James Mangold got nothing. Charmaine Obaid-Chinoy got nothing. Dave Filoni's End of Mandoverse movie got nothing but more understandable because we still got to get the other stuff in there first before we get there. I gotta feel like they don't want to announce anything because they want to go to Celebration this time. They don't want to make grand announcements without something in place. Now, if they can go to Celebration and go, we are making a Sean Levy movie entitled this, and it starts filming in September. That's much more solid. Here we are.
You got to do something. You can't go to Japan. You can't go to Japan empty-handed.
Right. Absolutely. I think that's what it is. I think this is actually probably an accurate report. Mostly, I think my accuracy rater says Sean Levy has pitched this to Lucasfilm. Lucasfilm has pretty much agreed to it. They're just working out some details, and that in Celebration, we're going to get an announcement. It's going to start filming in September. The Rey stuff is where I'm more nebulous on. I don't know exactly how it's going to connect. I do believe we might get Rey in that movie. Because at this point, if Charmaine Obaid-Chinoy's film is not ready, and it went back to the drawing board after the Stephen Knight thing, they're finding a new writer and doing all this stuff, that means we're waiting a long time to get Rey into her movie. So what is Disney going to do? Fuck, we can't wait years. We've announced Daisy Ridley 2 years ago already. We can't wait years to get her into theaters. All right, put her into Sean Levy's movie. Okay, so we'll get a Sean Levy movie. It will feature Rey, and they could say, this is Rey's return. It's not starring Rey. That's coming later on, but this is a Rey's return to the galaxy kind of thing.
I also think if they are playing it safer, if they do shoot it in 2025, it'll be out, 2027? That's the 50-year mark.
Yeah.
I think it's a better look from a business-wise. I personally don't give a shit who directs it, but if you say the 50th anniversary of Star Wars, The Return, is with Sean Levy, that holds a lot more weight.
Right, because he's a successful director right now.
Yeah, even though Charmaine Obaid-Chinoy is an Oscar winner.
But she's a documentary Oscar winner, which does... it's still an Oscar winner, but as far as the public perception and persona, there is that, well, she's never made a big feature. She's never made this kind of movie kind of thing. This is a different ball game kind of thing. And I understand that hesitation. I like Star Wars to take wild swings, though, so I do hope that she gets a shot. I would think it would be a fun thing to do. But go ahead. Continue.
And while Deadpool and Wolverine, in my opinion, is the enemy of art, like, as great as it is, it's still like the enemy of art because it's just like cameo here, cameo there, look at it, wait, which is cool in its own right. People are going to be looking at that, and they're not going to be looking at Free Guy. They're not going to be looking at Yatin Project. Like what this man can do.
Right. He definitely has the right tone when given the possibilities. Absolutely.
He probably could have done Skeleton Crew.
Oh, he got it. Well, he's a Stranger Things guy. So he's done Stranger Things, which is what Skeleton Crew kind of partially wanted to be a little bit of, too. That was always thrown out there at the beginning. They mentioned Goonies, but they also mentioned Stranger Things to a degree. Sean Levy can do that. Absolutely. And that is the same type of vibe we're going for. So I agree 100%. I think it's a good way to go. The only thing that would be better for me, and it's I think the boat has already sailed at this point, is I kind of officially wanted to see Dave's Mandoverse movie in 2027 because I wanted that to be the 50th anniversary. You have them come back. You have the Heir to the Empire storyline. You have Luke, Han, and Leia in there with Dave Filoni ending this kind of big, that's a big 50th anniversary kind of thing. That's not happening now at this point. I don't think that's even close to happening. Too much other stuff's happening. So if we can't get that, something with a Sean Levy, he's an established director, can do that tone very well, then let's go for it. Now, we got to hope that Disney doesn't push too much on the nostalgia as far as like, let's get Rey in there, let's get everything in there. Let Levy cook. Let him do what he's going to do. I don't mind a little. Putting Rey in the movie makes sense. If it makes sense with the story and you can make it work, okay. But let's see how it cooks, but don't do too much. Don't just let Levy cook and do his thing.
Here will be the big thing for me is if at Celebration, it's not just Sean Levy and Daisy Ridley. Give me the entire cast. I really hammer this in that this is happening. This is who's in it. This is when it's filming.
Right.
Like, you can announce till you're blue in the face.
Right.
But like, unless you say, this is who's directing it, this is who is in it, this is when it's filming, this is when it's coming out.
Yeah.
Critics have got nothing to say.
Yeah. I don't disagree. I don't think we're going to get that, unfortunately. I think what we will get, though, I think what we'll get is we'll get Levy, whether it's in person or via video or whatever. I think we'll get maybe get a title. Maybe get a title. I hope it's in person. I think we'll be in person. Maybe get a title. I think their push is saying it's starting the filming of September 5th, 2025. That's the way they confirm. All right, this project is greenlit. It's going. We are ready to start shooting in September. We are finishing everything else, and it's good to go. I think that's what will be their announcement. Maybe Daisy Ridley, maybe somebody else. Maybe they'll bring on another person potentially, but it won't be the whole cast. I don't think. I don't know if they've done casting yet. Because I think this. My gut tells me right now is they're still kind of like circling this final thing. Like Levy's saying, here it is. I'm holding this window open. Lucas like, I think that's good, but let's see what we can do here.
Maybe they're still negotiating.
I think they're dotting some I's, crossing some T's. I think that's what's going on right here. I think it will happen because I think it makes too much sense on all sides. But that, I think it might happen too late for them to like, cast the entire thing. And here's the cat, kind of thing. I think it's going to be more of like a little teaser, but with a confirmed, we're starting at this date and maybe give you a release date. We are shooting for May of 2027 to be the 50th anniversary.
Yeah. I'm going to hold my belief until I see Sean Levy on that stage.
100%. Totally understandable. This is why I'm saying this is speculative rumors. This is me piecing together things. If this doesn't happen, this is not Lucasfilm family because we are putting together rumors. We are piecing together bits of news. We do not know what's going on behind the scenes. And Lucasfilm and Disney have said absolutely nothing.
Which I like because I hate these scoops.
Just fine.
For this very reason. I hate this scoop game.
I hate this scoop game. I love the scoop game.
You do.
To a degree, but I don't like the discourse around it. When it becomes a case of they take the scoop and this is what's happening. That's what I don't like. Now give me the scoops and go, oh, this is what makes sense to be happening. This could be happening. I can see what's going on here. And as long as that you know that this is your chalkboard and that you can erase it in a heartbeat. And we can get
Charlie Day with a red string.
Yeah, absolutely. I love being Charlie Day in the red string. But as long as you understand that that's what it is, then I think the scoop game is fine. It's fun. And it's actually fun. You can have speculation. I like irresponsible speculation. As long as you know it's irresponsible speculation.
Yeah.
It's the big thing. So, all right, two little other bits that Daniel RPK had thrown out there. This one was the second one. He was hearing that Skeleton Crew characters were going to be in the Mandoverse movie, not the Mandalorian group, but the Dave Filoni end of Mandoverse movie kind of thing. That makes sense. Again, could be or could not be.
I don't know if they're joining up the Mandoverse movie, it would make sense to have the Avengers portal sequence and Neil comes through wearing Mandalorian armor,
but he's still got the hair on top.
The armor fashions him the helmet. It just has like the hair piece.
It does make it is kind of funny that this is actually my son said around. I talked to him about. He's like, I love this show. If it's doing well enough for season 2. I'm like, yeah. Well, John Watts has said he's had talks about it, or he's had an idea. They have an idea for season 2 if there's to go that far. They would skip a couple of years, they jump forward a couple of years, and that's part of the thing. But the question becomes at that point, what is the story that they took? Because it feels like the kid's story is almost done at that point. The kid's story is told.
I got a story.
Okay. It's about his Canadian girlfriend?
Kind of.
But in theory, Jod continuing on somewhere makes all the sense in the world. This character feels like it could fit in any part of the Star Wars galaxy at any time. Kind of like Hondo in that way. You could throw him in anywhere. And make him, if he's the character that appears in...
We've been trying to throw Hondo everywhere.
I know. We're trying. If Jod appears, then that makes sense. Now, the kids appearing, I don't know. We'll see. I have to see. We'll see. Maybe get some 33. I don't know.
The one thing I've been clamoring for is an early 2000s style teen comedy in like American Pie, Van Wilder style comedy in Star Wars. Let's just skip to when these kids are in high school, about to go to college. Neil going through puberty. What does that look like?
Could be. Question. All right. Potentially, it could potentially happen. You never know. That'd be a fun story to tell. Absolutely. All right. Last bit from that with Dan RPG said he fears that there are 2 animated series that are in the works for Disney Plus at this point. Now that I actually got to read the actual thing, and that's all he said. I hear 2 animated Star Wars shows are the works for Disney Plus. That's open for a lot of discussion because does Visions count?
Yeah, I was gonna say Visions is one.
Does that count as what he's he's not very clear on it, and I think it's this person's issue for me is like he kind of says things in a vague way that he can be right later on, and later on if only one comes out, he's like, oh, it could be that. So with that in mind, let's say there's an animated show in the work, and let's say it does not include Visions, does not include Young Jedi Adventures, or does not include what else? Another series of tales or whatever, potentially. If that's the case, what are we thinking here?
I honestly have no idea.
I think one's got to be the Ventress one, right? That's got to be happening, right?
Yeah.
I would be absolutely shocked if we don't get the Ventress one at some point because that feels like that was such a obvious setup for an obvious backdoor pilot when there's no reason to bring Ventress back and we're supposedly going to get Ventress' story in the future. That would make it like I think that's pretty responsible speculation there.
Yeah.
But I would love it if there was a second full-time animated show, and it would make sense to a degree. The reason why I throw it out there is because if they are going to bring things back, they're cutting things back a little bit as far as Disney Plus goes. Animated shows are cheaper to make, so they could replace content with content, like throw back to live action, give us another animated series to kind of throw it out there. And the animated series have been overall pretty successful for Disney Plus and critically and as far as I know, viewership wise, as far as I know. So, and it doesn't have as much money to make back. It's cheaper to make. So I would love to see that. I'm hoping we get that. I'm hoping we get the Ventress one, which hopefully will include the Rebellion, the Rebel or the Clone Rebellion wrap up as well. I'm hoping to get a little more of that. Let's see how Rex gets to.
That would be the one that I want. I want
to
see how the story of the clones end.
Right. And that could be done in the Ventress storyline because that could be a hidden path because Rex could help out with the hidden path for a while too. But eventually, how does it end and how does Rex get to be slinging jupas there with Wolf and
Gregor.
Thank you. I was saying the crazy one, but I couldn't think of his name. So that'd be something cool. And the other one, I still have, like I mentioned a long time, I want that Clone Wars style poster of the Jedi, Luke Jedi Order, New Jedi Order animated that way, like where you get to tell Tales of the Rebellion or postings. That'd be fun. That'd be a fun one to do. It's such an unexplored territory. We really need to fill that gap in more than anything else. The other one I throw out there as a possibility, especially here's the one I'll throw out there as a dark horse. Pure irresponsible speculation. 2027 is coming. The Ventress one is probably the one that's in the works now. That's when we get next year. The next animated show, maybe it's 2027, 2026, 2027. For the 50th anniversary, do they do a Clone Wars style Rebellion show set during the original trilogy? Like that basically Luke, Han, and Leia and those characters during this time frame or whatever it is happens to be. Now, the only problem is that's well told in the comic books. They have this the entire comic book run, so fitting more stories in there is kind of. But I don't know if that would stop.
Why do you go sequel trilogy? The Resistance and the First Order.
Because of the 50th anniversary of Star Wars, we're bringing back the original trilogy. It's the Han, Luke, and Leia of it. That's the idea behind it.
Or do they look forward to the future of the franchise? I'm just saying this is not what we want. This is what the Disney stakeholders are going to be thinking.
And they're going to think, I want Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Princess Leia for the 50th anniversary of Star Wars. That's what I'm saying. Like you can't celebrate the original Star Wars with the original Star Wars characters. You get Darth Vader that way. You get, whoever you want. I mean, depending out there that I think that makes more sense. I would not mind a Resistance show, like either preset, like we already have Star Wars Resistance, but like an actual more adult oriented Clone Wars style show for the Resistance. Absolutely, be kind of cool getting Poe, everything else. But it's kind of a little bit weird in that terms because of like how that all went down. Because Luke's not there, Han's not there, Han's off to like it's kind of another not together at that point. So how do you do it? You can do it, but you could, but it makes more sense to me marketing wise from Disney's standpoint, nostalgia. When it's the 50th anniversary of Star Wars: A New Hope, here's what you had, here's what you missed. You got Han, Luke, and Leia just after A New Hope, running the show. They're running adventures against Darth Vader and Stormtroopers and Palpatine, and Chewie's there, and Goldenrod's there, and R2's there. You could even do stories of Lando as long as he doesn't connect with them until Empire kind of thing. There's a lot you can do, and you can still bring in other kind of cool Hera characters, intersperse Hera in with the original trilogy characters kind of thing. I think that makes the most sense marketing wise to do, which is why it makes sense to me that would be one that they would decide to develop.
Which is why they're probably not going to do it.
Could be. It could be.
Because it makes sense to us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they're going to go. I mean, putting Hondo in a pirate show makes perfect sense.
That's true.
But they ain't done it.
Imagine we get Hondo with Luke, Han, and Leia. Even it's an animated show? Come on.
Hondo telling Luke. Imagine if the campfire scene with Luke and Leia isn't with Ahsoka.
It's with Hondo.
It's with Hondo.
Oh, that'd be fun. That would actually be interesting storytelling too, because the Clone Wars obviously took place between 2 and 3. That was that one time frame. The Rebellion sort of, you could do like a 7, 8 seasons. I mean, they don't like. I know we don't do that anymore. We do 3 seasons, 4 seasons usually at max. But you do like some stories between 4 and 5, and then some stories between 5 and 6. It's kind of cool. I mean, you wouldn't have Han obviously between 5 and 6. That's the one thing. You'd have Tak Rennod. That's where he came from. That's basically why they created him for Shadows of the Empire. But you could have Lando instead of Han at that point too, though, which is kind of cool. Interesting things that go about. But you could have Hondo there as well. Hondo and Luke and Leia and maybe Ahsoka and whoever else you want they're in there. So, but yeah. All right. That's it for us today, folks. We are running long today. I'm here for it. Matty, where can the folks find you?
You can find me on all social media at Matty Morner. You can find my band Morner on all streaming platforms. You can find me here every week for Holy Snokes.
All right. You can find me at about Blue Sky. I love Blue Sky. I really enjoy Blue Sky. So have fun over there. You can find me all over this channel. My name is on the tin, as Matty likes to say. I do have every week Holy Snokes. Every other week now we're back on schedule for review. Me and Lego talking V. PJ and I talking Two Mediocre White Dudes on film. We're doing Nightmare on Elm Street still. We are also going to be doing our Big Blue Box, talking about the Doctor Who Christmas special of this month. That's going to be next week for sure. And every week I'm going to be coming back with Crown Jewels. The new episodes will start airing next Friday. I took the last 2 weeks off because I said, screw it. I had to take some time off this Friday for a little bit. Back to finish the Queen 1 Collector's Edition for that. I think that will do it. And we will see you next time, next week for the penultimate episode of Skeleton Crew. I'm looking forward to it. I know you are as well. And, until then, as always,
may the Force be with you always.